I'm driving down an empty freeway. No waiting for the light to change. I'm seeing the sunrise behind me.
This is our nursery right here.
All right.
And this one's actually hooked up to natural gas, so we can get like our summer starts early.
Yeah. Are you from the area? Or are you from?
No, I grew up on the Gulf Coast of Alabama.
You grew up on Gulf Coast, okay?
Yeah.
I got you.
Down in Baldwin County, and then went to Alabama. And
Okay.
after I graduated college and moved in '09, I moved to Birmingham.
Okay.
And basically, like when Holland and I we knew that the restaurants in Birmingham were going to be like a meaningful source of revenue.
Right.
So we just started looking at land all over.
That's neat. I'm from Talladega.
Okay.
But I went to Auburn, and then I've been living in Homewood for the past couple years.
Yeah, I lived in Birmingham. I lived right there at like the Vulcan intersection area.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's where I live right now.
As far as so yeah, you can kind of see. Actually, this is before we turn it. This is good photo fodder. Watching the
Oh yeah. No, you're fine. It's all good.
Basically, with that running, like these big things, like it won't. The tunnels won't be able to run. So our well's up there by the solar panels,
Okay.
and then it like runs subsurface, like down to here,
Right.
and then tees off from here, and then hopefully this winter time we're going to, because it's a nightmare pressure-wise.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get a trencher and actually like run PVC subsurface down to
all the way
and
through.
just have a
Yeah.
spigot every now
Yeah.
and again. Because like you can see these blue lay flats, like they break it, like mice will get to them.
Oh yeah.
You know, they'll get to anything like that
Yeah.
that they can nest in. It's been the bane of our existence.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Here we got this. We got freshly planted salad
Right.
here.
Is that what y'all mostly do? Salad mixes?
That's our biggest thing.
Yeah, that's market garden type deal. That's the big thing. That's a huge
Especially
cash crop.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody loves it. Our restaurants love it. They're also like very low feeding.
Right.
So it's one of those things that you can, some stuff it takes so much nutrients from the soil that.
Oh yeah,
It
for
can be
sure.
taxing, but it's one of those things like with salad, such a low feeder, we can like pull it and then plant like we'll do a lot of times we'll do a salad and then just pull the heads and then go right to beets,
Okay.
which we have a lot
Yes, sir.
right here.
Oh yeah.
Some of the grass is starting to win the war, but nothing a couple hours won't fix.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
they're actually. And you should have seen the seedlings before we went, and they look really, really bad. It always amazes me how how much things want to live, how like just turn it around. Is this even worth planting? Yes, it's always worth it. Hey, Fred. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's good. It's like, unfortunately, like the kitties and my puppies don't get along.
But
But like, so basically on the weekends, like when my girlfriend's not at work, she can keep the dogs entertained. So like, weekend farming is always like kitty time,
Yeah.
And but also like in the summer, I'll take the dogs back to the house like at lunchtime once because it's too hot. So it's important to get some kitty time in.
Yeah.
So how many hoop houses do y'all have total?
So we have these four 30 by 72
Yeah.
high tunnels. They were our first ones, and then we got those from Atlas Greenhouse
Right.
in Georgia,
Uh-huh.
and then we made these cat tunnels like 3 years ago. And they're 4 of these, and then like I said, we're like
these.
we'll probably end up like slowly but surely just more moving
yeah.
it down. It's one of those things too. It's obvious for winter season extension, but like as far as like our tomatoes and peppers and eggplant, like by putting them in there and like keeping the foliage dry,
Right.
like all our tomato diseases come from like out in the field because they get wet, and
Moisture,
it's just gross.
Definitely.
And then we just and the shade cloth too buys about 10 degrees because once it gets above like 95, tomatoes aren't going to set new flowers and set new fruit. So that buys us some time.
Yeah. So how long have y'all been farming out here?
We got the land in 2016, and then in 17 we didn't build the barn. Company. We built the greenhouses, but we brought professionals in for the barn. And then did some trials, and so our first like actual like growing season was 2018.
Okay. And what made you decide to get into farming?
Well, I had worked at a bank, was working at a bank, and really decided that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of the things like I just
No, I understand.
I was like I'm not happy doing this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like kind of a midlife, quarter life crisis. Like, all right, well, if you don't want to do this, like, what do you want to do?
Right.
And we decided kind of like be the guy that would like to grow food for their neighbors.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a pain, but it's like super duper rewarding.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always, it's hard all the time, but it's always worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me make sure these are spitting good. Should be throwing water properly.
So what do y'all have in this greenhouse?
Radishes, turnips. This is like a Mizuna baby mustard, tot soy. I'm nervous because these haven't popped. They were all seeded at the same time.
Right.
They take longer typically, but I'm starting to get nervous about it. But what's really concerning is how not well that is throwing water. Because it should be, I mean...
Yeah.
Oh, this probably has a lot to do with it, huh?
Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
Just probably need to get
So as somebody that operates out of a market garden, what do you think about market gardens versus like industrial farming?
Well, obviously it's, the industrial farming like is very taxing on the earth.
Yeah.
But it's one of those double-edged things. Like we got all these people to feed,
Yeah.
and we need to make food afford. That's
right.
That's the horrible thing about the margins on farming is we intrinsically are trying to make food affordable.
Yeah,
but everything that we do to create the food gets more expensive. But it's one of those things that it's
such a difficult question.
Yeah, it's one. As idealistic it would be for all of our food to be something that's like those giant mega things, or it's like your Cisco's and U.S. Foods. It's like. Yeah, it hurts more, but it's like also how we feed people,
Yeah, exactly. There's so many people to feed that it's really a question like, is it feasible to,
I mean, it is. It's just it takes it takes some nuances and an overhaul of how how government farming subsidies work.
Yeah,
you got you got that big thing, they'll pay you not to farm. It's like you're a little guy, like, oh, you're too small to merit anything. You know, there's like, there are plenty of programs like the NRCS, like.
Yeah.
But it definitely would require a very multi-pronged approach.
You know, that leads into the question of like, do you think like small farmers get enough like government assistance, or is that something that you wouldn't even really interest you?
You know, there, like I said, there are some, and they try. It's just one of the things that is very heavily skewed to those the large scale industrial ones. You know, but they do. I mean, that's not to say that the government doesn't care about because you know stuff like we don't pay sales tax and stuff like that. And like the extension office, all those people are like incredibly helpful.
Oh yeah,
you know, it's one of those things that.
Found that with like anybody I talk to that runs a situation like this, or you know, any type of thing, extension officers or extension agents are really helpful. And,
they really.
It's a situation that. So, what's your favorite thing to grow? Is it greens and?
Yeah, I would. So we'll go. My favorite thing for everything about it, just like the ease of growing, deliciousness, sells well. Are these like petite romaine heads?
Oh right.
They're like my new favorite. Like first off, they're delicious, but it's just one of those things that like they, you know, which so like. Oh, there you go. That's, you know, it's like,
oh yeah.
Welcome to take some of these home if you would like.
It's beautiful too. I mean, beautiful greens.
Yeah, it's just one. I love beets too. Beets. We just had some bad luck with beets.
Right.
And this pak choi. Looks like. Potentially,
Did you like find it hard at all, like when you started marketing, is like marketing different types of greens to people?
What do you mean?
Like, I guess, did you ever have any issues, like, do people know, like, when you bring Asian greens into the market, like, do they know, like...
there's a lot of, like, we have a lot of people like, oh, I've never even heard, for example, like this, like, Tokyo Bacana, it's like a non-heading cabbage right here. It's currently, we need to cut it back. We had a beetle problem, as you can tell. Still good, but...
Right.
So like, oh, what is this? I've never ever heard of this.
Yeah.
Which is fun too, because especially like with our high-end restaurants, we definitely want.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You want to grow the funky special stuff.
So do y'all do everything off of like 30-inch beds? Is it?
Yes, for sure here. Inside 30 inches.
Yeah.
And then out in the field 48.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Because in here it's just good to get more rows, and also I'll show you this cool thing in the barn that we use now. It's like a push harvester.
Oh right.
We got some parsley.
Is this like a paper plot planter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these, you can tell these we did in that.
Right.
That thing's awesome.
Yeah. I'm sure that's really helpful. I've never used one, but I've seen a lot of people use them. And they look really helpful. So. Yeah, it's a beautiful farm now. I mean,
it's a good. Thank you. It's a good hour to be here too, as far as lighting wise. I always love, like, the end of the afternoon. It's like this slowly starting.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Here's this awesome thing of why we have opted for 30-inch beds. So this is like a brand new tool for the farm.
Okay.
It's like operated by a, just like a power drill.
Oh, right.
But basically, so you like hook up the drill to it right here, and then as you push it along the road, like the drill operates the cutting saw.
Okay.
Right there, and then the conveyor belt moves.
Yeah.
So you
okay.
basically just like push it down the road, and it'll harvest all those baby cut greens.
Yeah, I'm sure that's super helpful.
Yeah, that's one of those things like saves us like.
And y'all use the barn just washing and packing,
Yeah.
obviously, and
Oh
you
yeah.
have your.
We have 2 walk-in coolers. One right now is off. The big one right now is off. I can see the smell. We're planting our onions and garlic this week.
Okay.
And since we're pretty light on offerings, like we just have this at room temp for storing.
Yeah.
So, like, you can just like smell.
Oh yeah.
Dracula would not go in there.
Yeah, it's good though. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
And then here's just our current operating one. Cool. They have this thing called a CoolBot,
Yeah.
which is like that little like microchips or whatever.
Right.
That can make a window AC unit actually get down to
Right.
freezing.
Yeah, that's super helpful though.
Yeah.
I don't know how much like a full-on like compressor unit would be, but
we're about to find out.
Yeah,
'cause-
okay.
'cause for this one, it's,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that these things are great, but they've been breaking down pretty quickly.
Okay.
You know, after a year or so. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, that's understandable. It's one of the things that's good. It'd take 5 years of replacing it to probably equate to a cost of a compressor, but it's also like, at this point, I would rather just go ahead and do
Go ahead
the
and
big.
bite the bullet. Yeah.
Like, and just more reliable too. And then here's our germ chamber. This is where we start everything.
Okay.
Just gonna say one of the things we'll actually like water our seedlings with warm water, so it helps them pop more quickly at this time of year. You know.
Yeah.
Especially like when we start like our summer, because we'll start our tomatoes and our peppers, like in the start of the like in a couple of weeks.
Right.
And then by like hitting them with warm water, it like convinces them it's spring, you know? And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, let's party. And here's where we've been keeping very bad records of our harvest.
Yeah. So as far as y'all sales, y'all are mostly market based, but y'all also do a CSA or?
Yeah, we do like a week-to-week CSA.
Yeah.
So it's not like a subscription, but like 20 minutes ago, I sent an email out for like what's in. Like this week it's kale and salad and cabbage and turnips and parsley.
Okay.
That way, because last week we didn't do it. I like having the option of like we're behind or we need something to do. It's like, no box this week, we're low, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you like people sign up for a whole year subscription, like, all right, well, are they going to get sick of our stuff? Am I going to not? You know, are we going to fall short on a week and disappoint the folks?
Gotcha.
I think the week to week is good for my mental health. You know?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that could be a big.
But you know, we've also been like short staffed since May.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But we recently got our application approved. So we're gonna have 4 H2A workers from Mexico starting in February.
That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Which will just open up our ability, like, you know, because right now it's not the issue of like having a market to sell things, but like growing enough to satisfy. Like, so there's things like that. For example, like we're not offering beets year round, and we could be if we had the time and help to actually make that a reality.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll go in this here. Like I said, this is the nursery, which is temperature controlled. Like if it gets warm enough, these vents and fans kick on. If it gets cold enough, they'll close, and then the heater will kick on.
Okay.
So we'll seed stuff here, then take it to the germ chamber, and then once they start to pop, basically this just allows us to, like I said, just create the ideal environment for things to get started.
For sure.
You know, one of those things that, you know, a healthy seedling, it's like, you know, it's like putting your kid in a good preschool, kind of like that. It's like, all right, well, there, you know, they had a really good start. So
Yeah.
once they hit the mean streets of the field, they're like I can do this. But yeah, it's like some pak choy, kale, cabbages, kohlrabi, cress, and then we have we have a bunch of chefs that
Okay.
like these like milk companies and stuff, like they build in their operating with not getting these crates back, which
Right.
is nuts to me. That first environmental, but also like I think it's like $3 a pop. It's just like
Yeah.
how,
Yeah, it adds
how
up.
is
Yeah.
that built into? But so we've been taking some, and so this is margarine and sage. And
Okay.
what I like about this is we'll keep these in winter, but then once it gets nice out, we'll just move them outside, and so we can just it could be like it's like a mobile herb garden.
Right. That's really cool.
Yeah. Still don't like how that's. I think probably that leak probably has something to do with it too. Typically, like when we first see something, we'll hand water it with the wand because it's like much quicker than.
Yeah.
For example, like when I finish up today, I'm gonna like hand water that salad tunnel.
Okay,
It was on
yeah.
drip, which is fine. It does the job. It's one of those things. It's like, would I rather go through and hand water something for 8 minutes or sit around for an hour and a half?
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
it's a slow burn drip. It's
Yeah.
great, but it's like.
Yeah, for sure.
And over here we have like the salad tunnel. Like that one's our next salad tunnel. This is our current chive patch. Yeah, like typically this time of year we will get like 3 or 4 cuttings out of our lettuces.
Okay.
Like this would be our 3rd cutting, so it all depends on if we have, you know, it's like do it wait it out for another cutting or it's
Yeah.
like, you know, we got stuff that needs to go in.
It's all beautiful though.
Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful food. How many markets do y'all sell at right now?
We just do Pepper Place.
Pepper Place?
On set, like in in summer, like if things are going really haywire,
Yeah.
like we have a market in Anniston we'll go to.
Okay.
It's one of those things, like, because that's like the thing with summer stuff is like when it's ready to come off the vine, it comes off.
Yeah, it's
you
got to come
know?
either way. Yeah.
But this time of year, it can be a much more harvest to order thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, typically, like, it's rare that, you know, like, oh, we don't cut this, you know, because things don't bolt and so.
Definitely. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I really appreciate
Of course.
the tour, man.